Bookish Babes, and welcome to my book nook. For those that are new around here, the name's Randy Barton. I teach music. I also read books. I love thrillers, horror, romance, sci-fi, fantasy, all the things. So if you want to hear about an eclectic type of reads, stay tuned Sundays and Wednesdays. Okay, if you don't know by now, it is officially spooky season. It's beginning of September, hence my Spooky Season shirt, which was by Book Babe Designs. I'm kind of obsessed. I'm also trying a new angle where I stand as I do this because my tripod, when I set it up on the floor, my table is so long that it's like right in my face. And so I'm thinking this might be better. I feel like Beth's all booked, or Beth's booked reads right now because she always stands up. So I'm trying it her way. Okay, anyway, so spooky season. So I figured I would do a video on my spooky season TBR, what I'm interested in getting to this spooky season. And I am just going to put a disclaimer. There are way too many books on this list and I am not going to get to them all. I already probably know that. But did I have a heck of a time, just finding these books and deciding what I was going to do and read, hopefully? Yes, I did. So, I have categorized these in not any type of way. I was starting to categorize them, and then it just kind of went to crap. So, these are very loosely based, weird categories of, creepy, spooky season books. And we're just going to go with the vibes. It's all vibes in this video. All vibes, okay? All vibes. Alright, let's get started telling you some spooky season books. Alright, the first spooky season books category is, I think this is going to be fun to read. They're not necessarily super spooky, at least I don't know. They could be super spooky, but I just think they're going to be a fun time. So they might be on the funnier side / don't take them too seriously type of books. And the first one we have on that list is The Death of Jane Lawrence by Caitlin Starling. Now, this came out last year, and I've heard that it's crap. There's only one person I know that read it and liked it, and I believe it was Meg with Books, but I could have gotten that wrong. But yeah, I heard it's basically about this girl that has to get married for convenience, and she has to marry this reclusive doctor, and he has one condition that if she can never visit Lindridge Hall, which is this crumbling family manor, and of course she visits it because why she gonna listen, and then shit ensues. But I've heard it's not very good. And I've heard not to take it seriously, so you know what? It looks like a fun time. Let's just hit it. Then another book that I really want to read, because honestly, I just want to compare it to Twilight and see how it is, because it literally looks the same as the covers of Twilight, and that is Crave by Tracy Wolff. Have I bought the entire series already? Yes. Do I even know if I'm going to like them? No. But you know what? It just spoke to me, okay? So it's just another vampire book. It's just another vampire romance. And you know what? They be trying to copy Twilight, because come look at this cover. I mean, are these not the same vibe? Do these not shout the same vibe to you? They totally do. Also, I stan Twilight. Twilight is a fave of all time. But we're going to give Crave a try, and we're going to see if this can stand up to this. Then up next is one that I saw that came out recently, and I don't know, I just saw it, and it looked like it was going to be a fun time, and that is Suburban Hell by Maureen Kilmer. This cover, it's just stunning, and I love the color of the cover. This is about a girl named Amy Foster. She left the city and moved to the suburbs, found her place with neighbors Liz, Jess, and Melissa, snarking together from the outskirts of the PTA crowd. 1 month during their monthly wine get-together, they concoct a plan for a clubhouse, the She Shed, a space for just them, no spouses or kids allowed. But after they christen the She Shed, things feel off. They didn't expect it to release a demonic force that turns their enclave into something out of a nightmare. And then, one of them gets possessed, I believe, by the devil that is inhabiting the She Shed. And, yeah. Need I say more? Sounds like a good time. Then the next one I have, I don't know if it's spooky or not. It's the beginning of a series, and I do own the whole series. See, do we notice this trend of me just buying whole series before knowing if I'm going to like them or not? I am what I am. What can I say? Also, if you hear the bath in the background, my son's having a bath. This is Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. It is a series. They have a Houdini one and Dracula one and a devil one, and I believe it's just a fantasy about Jack the Ripper. It says, he murdered women in cold blood, he terrorized an entire city, he taunted those of us who hunted him down, but despite all these horrors, in the end I could not deny it, I was the girl who loved the Ripper. So it's kind of a love story about someone in love with Jack the Ripper, and I'm ready for good times with this one. The next one is the start of yet another series that I own all of them. I don't know. And that's Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. I've been wanting to read this little YA mystery series for forever, and I actually did start Truly Devious like 2 years ago, and I soft DNF'd it, and it wasn't even that I DNF'd it, it was just at a time where I wasn't like reading consistently, and so I like started it, and then my library hold was up, and I actually like was a nice person and turned it in on time, unlike now where like I have like 30 books and a bunch of them are overdue. Yeah, I know, I need to turn them in. I'm gonna do that tomorrow, okay? I'm gonna fix my error tomorrow. Anyway, yeah, this one is about, it's a dark academia book, a famous private school in Vermont, and someone is kidnapped, and this girl decides that, like, Stevie Bell decides that she has to be the one to crack the code. It's kind of like A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which I guess this is a good segue to say that is also on my list for right now, so I'm basically wanting to read two of almost the same thing. And do I own all of this? No. Only because the third book is in hardcover still, and I'm waiting for the paperback. But don't you worry, I have the second one. So this one is about Andy Bell, who was murdered by her boyfriend Sal, who then killed himself, and 5 years later, Pip decides to re-examine the closed case for her final project, finds out Sal is innocent, and some stuff is coming out because the murderer is trying to actually find and hunt her down. So yeah, this one looks super fun. People really love this book. I honestly haven't heard that much bad stuff about this book, so I'm very excited to hopefully get to this. I think I'm buddy reading it with my friend Brittany. So Brittany, if you're watching this, we need to decide when we're reading this. And then I have two more in this category, and another one that I really want to get to is The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter by Theodora Goss. This is Meg with Book's favorite book of all time. She was just talking about it again on her channel. It is a three-part book, or a three-series book, and three-book series. And I don't actually have the other two. Shocker! Only because they're hard to find. But this follows like all of the daughters of like the weird people like Jekyll and Hyde and like Dracula and Frankenstein and all of them. I think it follows their daughters and like they make this cool like society. I don't know much more than that, but I also started this forever ago and soft DNF'd it, and like I said, it was at a time where I didn't read a lot, so I blame it on that, but can't wait. And the last one in this like funny category is Killers of a Certain Age by Deanna Raybourn. She wrote the Victoria Speedwell series, like A Curious Beginning and all that, and I've only read the first one. I want to get to the other ones, but I'm pretty sure this is about some grannies that worked in an elite network of assassins, and they're retiring, and then they have to like get back into the assassin business. And what could be better than granny assassins? I don't know, but I'm gonna find out after I read this book. Alright, next category is going to be like what I think is going to be like my biggest horror reads, like ooky, spooky, creepy, probably going to scare me type books. So that's what we have next on the docket. And the first one that I plan on reading for the losers readathon, unless that has already started and I'm just behind, I'm planning on reading it soon, is It by Stephen King. This chunker of a book. I mean, it's what, how many pages? It's like 1,200 pages. If you don't know what it is about right now, by now, where have you been? It's about a killer freaking clown, okay? Look at this. Look at this cover. My mom said the ending sucked. And I initially wanted to, like, read this and then watch the old video and then the new movies. And then I was like, girl, if you watch the new movies, like, you can probably handle the old one. But if you watch the new ones, you're never going to go to sleep again because you're still having nightmares about the new Scream movie from January. No lie. So yeah, I don't know. We have Clown in a Cornfield by Adam Cesari. I was supposed to read this for Summerween and it just didn't work out. I don't know if this is actually going to creep me out or not. Like, I've heard it's not that bad and it's more like comedy horror, but I don't know. It's supposed to be a slasher, so I put it in this category. Yeah, it's just about like this podunk town and a lot of stuff goes on, and there's like killer clowns, or a one homicidal clown with a pork pie hat and a red nose that decides to like slash people up. I don't know what it is about killer clowns, y'all. I am not about killer clowns yet. I want to read 2 killer clown books. And we have a book that I just am afraid is going to like make me vomit or puke, and I'm a little scared because I've heard it's a lot of body horror and I don't know if I can handle that. And that is The Troop by Nick Cutter. Yeah, I heard it's about a bunch of Boy Scouts that go to camp and another visitor comes and some really icky stuff happens. I actually have heard worse. I've heard what actually happens, and I'm not going to say it because I don't want to spoil it. And I'm kind of scared because it's very disturbing. And I don't know if I don't know if I can do it. I'm gonna give it a try, and then if it's too nasty, I'm just gonna give it up because you know what? This is the year of DNF. It's the year of DNF. And another that I've heard is extremely gory and bloody, and that's why I'm a little hesitant to start it, is Mary by Nat Cassidy. Now I've heard that it's insanely long and it's too long for the book that it was, and that it should have been like 200 pages less. So I'm going into that prepared already. But I've heard it's extremely gory and extremely bloody for what it is, and it is basically a Carrie modern retelling of like what would happen if Carrie never had superpowers and she was just like a middle-aged woman going through like what is it called? Why am I blanking? going through menopause, basically, like what would happen to her. And so yeah, I've heard not really great things about it, but you know what? We're gonna try because I love the cover and I'm ready to give it a whirl. So those are all like the ones that I feel like are gonna really scare me and freak me out. So now we're gonna move on to like some highly anticipated ones that like I'm going to read them this spooky season. And some of them are new and some of them are not. The first one is going to be The Hacienda by Isabella Canes. This came out in May of 2022 and I just keep sending it back to Libby to read, but the next time I get it, I'm going to actually read it. And I know this one, it says it's like Mexican Gothic meets Rebecca in this debut supernatural suspense novel set in the aftermath of the Mexican War of Independence about a remote house, a sinister haunting, and the woman pulled into their clutches. And I've only heard a few people talk about it, but they all seem to really enjoy it. So it's like this Mexican Gothic horror. And I just can't wait to see it and understand the hype for it. Then we have one that I'm for sure reading in October because it's Gabby Reed's book troop choice, and that is Just Like Home by Sarah Gailey. Now, I read The Echo Wife by her in January. It was my first book of the year, actually, this year, and it was a 4-star. It was great. I loved it. So I'm excited for this, but I've also heard this was bad and that the ending was really bad, and I'm a little saddened by that, especially because this is such a beautiful cover. But you know what? We're going to make it through. And I think this one is about a girl who's estranged from her mom, and her dad was like a serial killer and he killed a bunch of people in their old house. And the mom calls her one day and says that they have to move back into that house for like some reason, and the house is like haunted and all this like weird stuff goes on. And I don't know, but I'm ready to appreciate the creepiness of this house. To follow up on creepy house books, I also I've had this on my TBR like 500 times, and you know what? This is the time that I'm going to have it on there. And it is my friend Ren Montgomery's book called Haunt. And it's not because I don't want to read it. I just, you know, sometimes you start a book and then you don't finish it. And you know what? I'm going to finish it because I promised my friend I would read it. And it's just about it's like a creepy Christian religious house, or they're all religious and the house is haunted and some stuff goes down. So yeah, we're going to read it. Then we have The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher, which I absolutely love this cover. It is the UK edition, I'm pretty sure, and I'm very excited for this. I plan on reading this month, actually, because it's part of my TBR challenge. But it looks ooky spooky, and I think it's about, what is it, pray that they are hungry? Like, I didn't really understand when I read the back of the book what this book is about, and I'm just excited to kind of just go into it not really knowing a lot. But yeah. Then we have a book that everybody and their mother is reading right now, and I need to actually start it sooner than later because Haley Hughes, one of my favorite booktubers who I'm in her Patreon, we're watching the movie at the end of September. And that is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. Now, I will say I have a hit or miss relationship with him because I loved the Final Girl Support Group and hated Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. And I don't know where this is going to fall. Because he kind of does disgusting horror, and that is just not my thing. But I'm hoping that this is better. And so yeah, this is about high school sophomores Abby and Gretchen. They've been best friends since 4th grade, but after an evening of skinny dipping goes wrong, Gretchen basically gets possessed and the other friend has to exorcise her essentially. Also, this cover is fantastic. The new cover that they're coming out with like can't even compare, so I don't really know why you're redoing the cover. And then the last two that I want to get in this spooky season is Chasing the Boogeyman by Richard Kismar. This came out last year and I didn't get to it, and I got it at Thrift Books for like $3 this year, and I've heard that it's like kind of like realistic but not. So this actually, it has like pictures and stuff in the back. So it says it's about, in the summer of 1998, the mutilated bodies of several missing girls turn up in a small Maryland town. They think a serial killer is on the loose, but law enforcement and members of the FBI are certain the killer is a madman and that he's playing games with them. And then Richard Kismar returns to his home as a curfew is enacted and a watch group is formed. In the midst of preparing for his wedding and a writing career, he finds himself thrust into a real-life horror story. Inspired by the events, he writes a personal account of the serial killer's reign of terror, unaware that his time back home will continue to haunt him for years to come. And so, I don't know. I've heard mixed things about this, but I don't know. It looks interesting. Okay? And a lot of cool people quoted the back. Like Josh Mellerman, Caroline Kepnes from You, CJ Tudor, Riley Sager, I don't know if I agree with what he says. But you know. And the last one that I'm definitely getting to, like, without a freaking doubt, is Slewfoot, A Tale of Bewitchery by Brom. I want to read this really bad. I've heard it's very, very creepy. And I mean, Brom literally illustrates his entire book. Like, all of the characters have, like, these super creepy photos. Like, what is this? Like, I don't know what I'm getting myself into with this book, but I'm very excited to read it. And I've heard that Abatha, the main character, has like a song, a spooky song that she sings in this book, and that the narrator actually like sings it. So I definitely have to get the audiobook for this. I mean, just look at this cover. It's just stunning. I'm very excited to get to this. I really can't wait to read this like super, super, super soon. And it's not insanely long. It's less than 300 pages. So you dig? You dig. And my last category of books. Yeah, I told you, Homegirl has a lot of books. Can you focus, camera? Thank you. The last couple of books are all witchy reads because it's witchy-ween to me, okay? Witchy-ween. And the first one is Payback's a Witch by Lana Harper. I got this last year for Halloween and I just didn't get to it in time. And so this is about Emmy Harlow. She's a witch, but not a powerful one. In part because she hasn't been home to the magical town of Thistle Grove in years. Her exile has a lot to do with a complicated family history and a desire to forge her own way in the world, and a little bit with Gareth Blackmore, the heir to the most powerful magical family in town, and break her apart, so I guess she dated him. But then a spellcasting tournament for her family approaches, and it turns out that she has to come back, and she's going to spend some time with her best friend Lyndon, and then back to her real life in Chicago. And then when she runs home, she runs into Talia, an all-around badass girl who's skilled in magic, and she's fresh off a bad breakup with Gareth too. And so then Talia realizes that Gareth was also seeing Lyndon, unbeknownst to either of them, and now they all want revenge, and they're asking if Emmy wants in. And I've also heard it's a sapphic romance, so very excited for that. Then we have both of Rachel Griffin's books, The Nature of Witches and Wild is the Witch. So I want to get to both of these, especially because, have you seen the inside covers of these books? Like, that's gorgeous. And this one is the same, and I didn't realize it, and I've had this book on my shelf for forever, and I might take the covers off because those are simply stunning. But yeah, I don't think they actually go together, these books. I think they're completely separate of each other. In fact, I know they are. But they're both witchy reads, and they look super fun and cute and YA-y, and so we're going to get to them. Okay, we're going to try this again because it said my memory card was full, and so I had to delete some stuff. I didn't realize it was going to get full that quick. I need to get a bigger memory card. Anyway, I'm reading the first book in this series, A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. Essentially, it is about Diana Bishop, a young scholar and a descendant of witches. She unearths an enchanted alchemical manuscript, but her discovery ends up setting this fantastical world underfoot, and this vampire finds it, and he wants the book as well, and so it's just about the magical world of witches. Discovery of Witches, hence it. And yeah, I've heard great things about this, so I'm very excited to hopefully get to this soon. And we have 3 more books in my witchy stack, and the next one is A Secret History of Witches by Louisa Morgan. I've been wanting to read this series for a while, and so I'm going to start with just the first book in this series. And it just says it's a sweeping historical saga that traces 5 generations of fiercely powerful mothers and daughters, witches whose magical inheritance is both a dangerous threat and an extraordinary gift. And so, yeah, I'm not a huge historical, fiction person, but I figure if it has witches, it's probably good, you know? Then on the Witch's Note, we have Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. I have the first book only. I want to get the rest of them, but I want to start with just this one and see what I do and if I like it or not. And so I actually just watched Practical Magic for the first time last year. Such a fun time. That's a good one. I think that's the one with Sandra Bullock and not Nicole Kidman. Is it Nicole Kidman? I don't know. Anyway, the Owens women have been blamed for everything that's gone wrong in their Massachusetts town. Gillian and Sally have endured that fate as well. They were forever outsiders, taunted, talked about, pointed out. Their aunts almost seem to encourage the whispers of witchery, but all Gillian and Sally want to escape. One will do so by marrying the other by running away, but the bonds they share will bring them back almost as if by magic. So yeah, if it's anything like the movie, I'm hoping to have a great time with this. And the last witchy read that I 100% know I'm getting to because I've been saving this book for this time of year is The Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. This was Meg with Books, I think, second favorite book of the year, and Sid Bookworm's favorite book of the year, possibly. Yeah, it just looks like a great time. So this one says, in 1893, there's no such thing as witches. There used to be in the wild days before the burnings began, but now witching is nothing but tidy charms and nursery rhymes. But when the Eastwood sisters, James, Juniper, Agnes, Amaranth, and Beatrice Belladonna join the suffragists of New Salem, they begin to pursue the forgotten words and ways that might turn the women's movement into the witches movement. So they're basically reviving witches in that time. So I am super excited for this. Like I said, I've seriously been holding off on reading this for months now, and I'm ready for it to be the time to read this. Oh, we're so close! And that is all the books that I want to read for spooky season. Like I said, there are way too many, but you know what? I'm just excited to get to all the books. So let me know if any of these books are also on your TBR and which ones I should prioritize sooner than others. I know the first book that I'm probably going to read in all of these is Mary because I need to read it this month anyway for the Smut Salon selection for Katie Colson's book club. So I need to get to it. But let me know what I should read after that, and let me know what you're most excited to read for in this spooky season. And with that, I'll see you guys in a video super soon.